most common habitual acts of violence, and that is, of course, swinging punches. And of course, it also deals with the confrontation aspect of what might happen before we get into a fight as well. The first technique in this kata is, of course, the fence. The fence is just a simple way of putting our hands up and to keep a distance from our opponent. If we fail to do this, we can have a situation where an opponent walks right up to us and tries to intimidate us. We've all probably seen that at one time or another, if not experienced that firsthand. So what I want to do in a situation like that is I want to keep a distance from my opponent, because obviously if they do get close, they can so easily grab me, punch me, and my reaction time at this range is I don't have much time to react at all. But basically, by forming a fence, I want to take one big step back and hold my hands up at throat height. Taking one big step back obviously gives me a little bit of room to breathe, and it's important that I only ever take one step back, because if I start to take more steps back from here, my opponent gains in confidence and I start to lose footing. So I want to form a strong stance, so as they approach me, I take one big step back. I want to have my hands up here, ready to block, ready to protect myself. The second feature of this is I want to make sure my thumbs are at throat height, as my opponent is unlikely to want to come close enough to get my hands around his neck. Obviously, this distance now is a distance where if he punches, I can now see it coming and I can react quite easily. At this range, if he punches, I would be lucky to react quick enough and to mount a solid defence. The last point in forming a fence is a matter of subtlety, and it's a very, very important subtlety. When I drop back to form my fence, I don't want to look too aggressive. If I look too aggressive, I may escalate the situation, because if I jump back and I'm like this, it looks like I want to fight and he's probably going to give me one. I want to be able to diffuse the situation and just bring the aggressive energy down. So I do that simply by, first of all, raising my hands as I'm stepping back and making sure his focus is up high on my face and my hands, so he doesn't notice the subtleties of my stance. So as I step back, my hands come up first, stepping back, and I just want to have a shortish stance. Not too long. If it's too long, it'll be too aggressive. If it's too short, obviously, I could potentially be off balance. I don't have any depth and I can't twist to protect my groin. So it's important that I have a strong stance with my knees bent, so I'm ready to react and ready to move. But most of all, I need to make sure that as I'm forming this stance, it doesn't look too aggressive when I do it, and I raise my hands first. There are three ranges of defence for swinging punches in this kata: long range, medium range, and short range. The first is, of course, a front kick. So if an opponent comes at a distance, I want to use this strong, powerful weapon from here to rear back and from here to keep them at a distance. In the kata, I follow this up with another front kick to push them away. The first kick serves to stop them in their tracks. The second kick pushes them back and gives you room to move. After we perform our kick, we want to check and clear ourselves away from any other threats or any dangers. So we do a quick check over our shoulders at the end of each encounter to make sure there aren't secondary threats to us, which is always good self-defense. The medium range defense in this kata is bursting. It's a very, very simple technique which relies on a simultaneous attack. It does rely on you preempting your opponent's attack, and in our style there are other defences that we use against haymakers in case we're caught off guard. But in this situation, because we've already got our fence up, we're preempting an opponent's attack, and he's at a nice medium range here. We're coming closest since I can, coming closest to start with. From here, he's at a nice medium range, where if I attempted a front kick from here, it's a little bit congested. So as he throws his punch from here, I'm bursting forward to catch his punch nice and early with a heilonoki. From here, this strong angle here will mean his arm will be deflected underneath me. From here, and as I do that, I simultaneously palm strike his face. As I palm strike the face, it pushes his other hand away from him. We just change our arms here. If you just throw a punch with the other hand, from here, it simultaneously pushes his head, but also this arm away, so he can't throw a secondary technique. After I perform this technique, I've engaged both my hands. I've used this one to block and this one to palm strike. I need to convert this now to action to prevent him throwing another technique. So in the kata, I'm going to grab and knee to the groin, and then knee to the head or to the chest afterwards, and then follow up with an elbow. In practical self-defense, we could use a wide range of techniques there as if we attack with a right this time. Yeah, come through, knee as we just did. I could roll to here, apply arm locks. There's a variety of different things I could do, even some sweeps and throws. There are two close range techniques or solutions in this kata. In reality, at close range, we're probably already in a fight from here. And at this range, we need to be very aware of protecting ourselves. Because here, from here on, a punch can be thrown very quickly, and it's very hard to react and block to punches at this close range. So our blocking style is going to be a lot more passive and rely a lot more on, rather than timing blocks, rely on covering our heads and also moving to make ourselves a hard target to hit. So basically, in the kata, we protect our heads from here as we step back. It's very important we have our forearm here, protects our temple. We tuck our chin in to make it hard for a punch to come to the chin, and also the shoulder protects our jawline. So having my hands here, protecting those areas, and lastly, my hands protect the back of my brainstem here. I'm not too sure whether the mic can hear me there, but the hands protect the back of the brainstem as if I drop and roll here, it may be that I get pulled or pushed, and they may have an opportunity to strike the back of the head. I want to make sure that that's protected as I do this defense. So what happens is, in the kata, from here at this point in time, he comes back with an attack. I protect myself, I'm going to drop, he throws his left, and I'm going to duck the left and come up. Now that I've come up, he's going to throw the right, he's targeting here, I'm going to drop and come up. Now that he throws the right, he's going to throw the left, I'm going to drop and duck the punch and come up, and then from here I'm going to ram forward and push him away. So one of the key aspects of this ducking and weaving defense is to form a nice, strong, deep stance as you're doing it. Obviously, the other big part of this defense is we can't duck and weave forever. Our opponent will quickly cotton on after he's missed a couple of times or hit our arms a couple of times, and they'll change their strategy. So our exit is actually to ram our opponent. And we do that simply as they're attacking. Here I'm covering, in weaving, and I'm just going to ram my opponent. I just need to take one big strong step, maybe two big strong steps forward, really driving. I can use my elbows to drive, my head to drive, create some backwards momentum. I'm going to stop, they're going to keep going, and that gives me some strong distance. I'm ready to defend myself back at a reasonable distance. The last defense in this kata is block then elbow. It's a very effective defense against close hook punches in very fast seconds. It works very simply. As my opponent throws a punch, I block, then I elbow them. As I elbow, obviously what that does is it turns his head and delays his next punch. Then when he hits me with the next punch, I'll block that punch and elbow him again. And he throws his next one, I'll block that one and elbow him again. Obviously you can see an opponent wouldn't stand too many of them, and very quickly their forward momentum, as they start getting hit, every time they hit, I block them, then elbow them, they'll soon get sick of coming forwards and they'll lose their momentum, and I'll take over and take control and initiative of the situation.